Okay, let's do a video on how to do bracelets / necklaces and how to use crimping pliers. So you start out, if you're going from one end to the other, which is the easiest way for someone to start. You're going to string, I like to use 2x3 crimps. And the cording, like to use professional cording, which is 49 strands of stainless steel with nylon coating. And you could use brands like Beat Along, Softflex, AccuFlex. Those all work great. I have all of those. My preferred size typically is a medium. It works with most beads. It has a nice diameter. It's a 0.019. Some brands will do 0.018. Same thing. 26 pounds is about the test strength. Some beads, really precious beads, like some pearls or opals or sapphires, whatever, will need to have a smaller, thinner cord. This is still 49 strands, but it is thinner diameter. And this will be either 0.014 or 0.013, depending on the brand that you're using. They all kind of vary a little bit. But it's not, obviously the weight that will hold is going to be less. The test strength is less for the breaking. You technically can knot these. I never knot them. I always use crimps. So this is why I'm showing this today. So I've had a lot of people know how to use them. But, so I always use the medium strength and the 2x3 crimps, which is what I prefer. So you're going to string the crimp on and one side of your clasp. So this is just a lobster's claw. The other end could be an end tab or a spring ring or something with a closed loop. You're going to string back through this crimp. Leave a little bit of a room, enough for 1 or 2 beads to go back over the top of this. And then you pull this and pull it down. You want to have it lined up so that this is kind of flat. You don't want this bottom tail to overlap. Like it'll automatically want to kind of overlap. You want it to lay flat so that the loop is flat underneath this. So that each side of that cording is on each side underneath this. So I always try to string it on and hold it flat when I do that. You don't want it too tight. You wanted this to have some movement. So leave a little bit of room. That is about perfect. This is what I mean by crimping pliers. It has a U shape and a circle right here. You can get these from tons of different places. This is about typical. The second hole, this U shape, is what you're going to do, and you're going to do it straight on so that it's going to get in here, and that U will be right down the middle, which is why you wanted that to be one of these in each side. This circle, the first section, is going to be what you use to fold these together. So turn them to the side, the first little notch, and you push these together. Make sure they're going to line up straight. That's really important. If it doesn't, see how this end is kind of flared a little bit on the one top? You just take that back in and push that down. And you see how nicely these formed that fold. So doing this method, back in the day, you would use, they would have these grooved crimps, and you would end up having to squish them with just regular pliers. They would make really sharp edges. This doesn't have the sharp edges. You don't have that issue. In addition, you'd end up having to use crimp covers. You don't have to do that with these. So this has the end. You're all set to go. String your beads. When your beads are all strung on, the main thing you're going to want is the first 1 or 2 beads needs to be able to fit through both wires, but not over the crimp. Meaning, here's the end, here's the crimp. These 2 beads fit over both wires, but not, the hole's not too big and it doesn't go over the crimp. So you need kind of that Goldilocks zone. Most beads this will work for. Just double check the hole's not a big hole bead. If it is, these holes on these mother of pearl beads are too small for both of the wires to go over. But it's really nice. And the majority of beads will fit on this cording, but it doesn't, not all of them will fit over both. So you can add a spacer bead or silver beads or just a single bead at the end to allow that. I just did these little glass beads. It'll blend in. You won't really notice that because there's not any color. You can also use silver. It'll look like it's part of the end. Or a decorative bead if you want on the end too, you can use. Or if it's the right size, then just string them as it is. So you'll see here, I did mother of pearl all the way down. I did this cute little mother of pearl M with some blue lace agate beads, and I get to the other side. This is the part that can get a little bit tricky. So same kind of thing. You put the crimp on. You've got these 2 beads where they were the start of the other one, so they're the end. You go back through this crimp. I've got just a end tab for my other end of my lobster claw. You're going to pull this excess, any excess cording wire all the way through. And you want to make sure that this is taut all the way. There's no loose give. There's not extra. Because you don't want to do this and have there be a huge gap or something. It slid down and now you've got this big excess and the beads are going to slide back and forth. That's totally annoying. Nobody wants that. So just make sure that you've checked that all the beads are all the way to the end and this didn't come back out of that little end as you're stringing. So you've got this down. You're going to pull this tighter than you normally would. Obviously this is too tight. It's right up against the piece. And the reason why is when you cut this, you want this very taut. And you cut this, you're going to cut it, there'll be a little bit of a tail. Because you can't get most of the time all the way down. And that's okay. You really want this to have a little bit of a tail. And the reason why is now you're going to scooch very carefully. And I mean very carefully. And the reason why is if you just grab this, you're going to pull that out. And now you're going to try to string it through with just a little tiny tail. That makes it very difficult. And you'll end up re-stringing your whole entire project. Don't do it. So I normally just hold this at the end and just kind of just slightly jiggle this down, shimmy, 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 and you can hold it, shimmy, 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 so you won't pull it through. Look at that. That's perfect. And it's taut, it's tight. All of that little end bead is now under these beads. Perfect how you want it. And do your crimp. It needs to be facing the crimp. Push that down. On that second hole, make the U shape, turn it, and fold it over. Look at how nice it ends up. You've got a nice little end. You've got a finished necklace. Ready to wear. There you go.